We're into the afternoon with Formula One. The cars making their way out of the pit lane onto the track for the rather wet race it's going to be, which could play into the hands of one or two drivers. I'll give you the grid in a moment. The entry you'll find on page 16 and 17, or 16 particularly, of the programme. This is a round of the FIA Masters Historic Formula One Championship 2019. It's divided into two classes, the pre-78 and the post-78 category. And the entry on page 16 has two or three to be added to it. I should say that the Fittipaldi and Stewart classes are the pre-78 cars, and the Patrick Head, Nicky Lauda class is the 78 and onwards class. The extras are number 12, that's Kyle Tilley, Kyle, K-Y-L-E, Tilley from the USA. He has the ensign MN177, ensign MN177, MN for Maurice Nunn, who was the man who created the ensign company. Its colour is red, it's a 1977 car, and it runs in the Fittipaldi class. That's number 12. We've then got number 24, Michael Lyons, and if all is well with the McLaren, which I'm told it is, then that's going to be a car to watch in the wet conditions. Michael Lyons in the X-James Hunt McLaren M26, 3000cc, like everybody else, of course, with DFE engine. Red and white, the Marlboro livery, and 1976 is its year. It's in the Fittipaldi class also. And then we have a third car running in the invitation class. This is number 28, Sid Hoole, with the ensign N173, the original Formula One ensign N173 from 1973. Its colour is green, runs in the invitation class. And we have a change of driver, number 21. It's not Andrew Haddon, it's Mark Martin in number 21. Andrew.
Yes, just arriving down in the pit lane, Ian, but remember the conversation we had yesterday afternoon. I talked to Michael Lyons, and he thinks that his car had a problem with the fuel metering system, but just didn't feel that the car was quite on the point, but now he feels that it's better, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Lyons car. So, yeah, fuel pressure problem, he thinks has got it sorted.
Andrew, there were two, if you can get answers to these questions, I'll be grateful, because two drivers of significance had their best laps disallowed yesterday, but I don't know precisely for what offence. Number 2, Katsu Kubota, had his best qualifying laps removed, and number 77, Steve Hartley, also had his 2 best qualifying laps removed, which means they're not at the front of the grid. And in fact, Katsu Kubota, we got a glimpse of on the screen just now, has stopped out on the circuit on this outlap. So Katsu Kubota with the Lotus 91 may not even start the race, but he's been moved down the grid.
Yes, I just had a grid sheet given to me here. I'm going to go out of the grid and see if I can see what's happening with it.
Okay. Well, the grid is lining up, therefore, like this, so the times, in some cases, not the best laps in qualifying because of those two drivers having their best laps disallowed. So the front row, on pole position number 7, is Mike Cantillon with the Williams FW07C. Beside him in the number 44 Tyrrell is Martin Stretton with the Tyrrell 012. So 7 and 44 is the front row. The second row, number 77 is Steve Hartley, who would otherwise have been on pole position. So 77 Steve Hartley with the ex-John Watson McLaren MP41. And beside him, number 99 is Jamie Constable with the Tyrrell 011. 77 and 99 is the second row. The third row is number 26, Matteo Ferrer-Arza, who leads the championship, Matteo Ferrer-Arza, with the Ligier JS11, the ex-Jacques Lafitte car. And beside him, number 24, Michael Lyons, with the McLaren M26, the ex-James Hunt car. 26 and 24, row 3. The fourth row, number 2, is Katsu Kubota, ex-Elio De Angelis, Lotus 91, but is that car going to make the grid? Number 37 beside him, number 37 is Christoph Dunsenborg with his Williams FW07C. 2 and 37 is row 4. Row 5, number 47 is Antoine Dunsenborg, son of Christoph, with his the Brabham BT49. One of the great Gordon Murray designs that, number 47. And beside him, number 60, Mark Hazel, with the Williams FW08C. 47 and 16, row 5. Row 6, number 75 is Gregor Fiskin with his Shadow DN5, spectacular looking ex-Jean-Pierre Jarier car. And beside him, number 34, 2 places further back on the grid than he would otherwise have been because of a penalty that he picked up last time out at Manicourt. Henry Fletcher, number 34 in the March. Number 75 and 34, row 6. Row 7, number 21, Mark Martin, replacing Andrew Haddon in the Hesker 308C. Beside him, number 61, Jason Wright, the American driver who lives in Italy, with the Shadow DN8. 21 and 61, row 7. Row 8, number 32, Philip Hall, with the Theodore TR1. One here with Keke Rosberg at the wheel, father of Nico, in 1978, I mean, number 12, Carl Tilley, then 32 and 12, row 8. The 9th row, number 28, Sid Hoole with the original Ensign Formula 1 car. And beside Sid, number 9, Judy Lyons with the ex-John Love Surtees. 28 and 9, row 9. And the last 2 cars on the grid, number 22, James Hagan, with the Hesketh 308, which hardly did any laps in qualifying. And also, we've seen him already in the Thundersports race, number 63, the German driver Georg Hallau, with the Theodore N183, the ex-Roberto Guerrero car. So the grid is now being cleared of the officials and mechanics, engineers and so on. So the grid about to set off on the parade lap. As far as we're aware, now what are we getting? 2 pace laps. Yeah, 2 pace laps for race 7 and 8, but not for this race. So by the looks of it, it's going to be 1 pace lap. Andrew.
Yeah, Kubota did have a spin actually, and has actually taken his grid position now. Had a quick
Andrew.
look around the car, seems to be fine.
Right, the car's then setting off on the formation lap. So yes, it's 2 pace laps for races 7 and 8. This is race 6, so the situation should be just 1 lap, unless they're going to give them 2 without telling us on the screen, because of course they yesterday drove in dry conditions to establish their grid positions. The prospect of these races always is tremendous, because this is how Formula 1 used to be in the 1970s and early 1980s, when cars all looked different. They all had the same engine, the Cosworth DFV engine, apart from Ferrari and BRM, but basically all the cars racing these days in historic Formula 1 have the Cosworth DFV or its derivative engine. There is the James Hunt McLaren, and I'm sure Michael Lyons in these conditions will fancy his chances. A few years ago in the Monaco Historic, Michael drove not that car but the Hesketh 308E and won by 50 seconds from Bobby Vernon Rowe in the car that is now or a similar car, sister car to the one that Steve Hartley is driving. So it may be one of the older cars, Michael Lyons' McLaren, but if I'm going to put my money on anybody for this race, it would be Michael in conditions like this. Alistair may agree.
I absolutely do, yes. Yeah. Michael, a consummate professional these days, isn't he? But he's grown up in historic racing.
And he can turn his hand to anything, really. We'll see later on when he gets into the Sierra Cosworth touring car. He's also quickest in that, much to the chagrin of the regulars in touring cars. So here we go, this front row of the grid, the Mike Cantillon Williams FW07C from 1981, when the Williams FW07C with Keke Rosberg, Jacques Lafitte drove, Carlos Reutemann in fact, and Alan Jones in 1981. Then 1982 was when Jacques Lafitte and Keke Rosberg drove for the team. And we've got one of the classes in this championship is named after Patrick Head, Sir Patrick Head, who's the designer of the early Williams cars. Reminder of what a great team Williams is. Let's just hope they'll soon get back to where they used to be when these were the cars that they were running. And of course it was here at 1979, Clay Regazzoni gave Williams their first ever Grand Prix win, after Alan Jones had led the race for much of the way. Well, Martin Stretton is a former champion in the 6-wheel Tyrrell in this series a few years ago, and won at Brands Hatch earlier on this year in the Masters Series. So Martin Stretton in the Benetton Tyrrell. I know Benetton ultimately became their own manufacturer, but before that they sponsored the Tyrrell team. And into club corner they are led. And I think, therefore, we're going to see a second green flag lap, are we? Yes, we are going to have 2 formation laps. Andrew? Andrew? We were going to hear from Andrew, but obviously not. But certainly we are getting a second green flag lap. And we had spray being thrown up by the Formula 2 cars earlier on. Well, these cars running bigger tyres, so there's going to be a lot of spray. There may be slightly less moisture around, although I know it's still drizzling with rain. The rain hasn't actually stopped, but the spray is going to be horrendous, and I think this is going to be a safety car start actually, so they'll start one behind the other rather than on the 2x2 basis. Yeah, the screen is saying now safety car start. which the difference is that they start one behind the other when it's a safety car start, rather than side by side, the conventional rolling start. There's the Brabham, the Parmalat Brabham, car raced by Nelson Piquet, Ricardo Patrese in particular. And the sound these cars make is just exciting. It's, well, personal opinion, so much more inspiring than the noise that the modern Formula One car makes, however good they are as technical achievements. So yeah, there's the safety car board just confirming the fact that this is a safety car. And so it's a safety car start, but Judy Lyons is getting the black flag, car number 9. What that reason might be, not too sure. Anyway, Judy Lyons starting at the back of the grid, coming into the pit lane now in the Surtees TS9. She races regularly these days. It's running in the livery of Brooke Bondoxo, Rob Walker's livery, but that is not the colours that car originally had. It was raced in South Africa in the South African Formula One Championship. I think passing you now, Alistair.
Yes, I was about to say, Ian, as always, the safety car is absolutely flat out. He was drifting through Beckett's, but the racing cars look pedestrian. It just gives you an idea of how quick these cars are, even in the wet.
I don't know whether he's doing all the races, but I know Chris Alford is still, who's done a lot of racing over the years. I know he was the safety car driver yesterday, and I guess he's at it again today. But yeah, I'm not surprised therefore if Chris, who does have a race, is pressing on in the safety car to give these Formula One cars the best opportunity to get ready to go. And the procedure will be the safety car peels off into the pit lane, and then one behind the other, they can start racing. So there is Mike Pantalon, graduate of Caterham Racing, but now with some rather nice historic cars like this Williams. Here we go then with the cars accelerating through Club Corner. The race gets properly underway, and it is the Williams leading the Tyrrell and Martin Stretton, who looks to get out of the spray and takes for the lead. No, he can't. Tucks in behind again as they go through Abbey for the first time. Martin Stretton looking rather quick, and they've got well clear of Steve Hartley in the McLaren in 3rd place, Matteo Ferrer-Arza in 4th place, and a battle for the lead. Battle for the lead,
yes, sideways into, side by side into Village, but Martin Stretton gets on the wetter part of the track and loses traction, drops back a little, but now he comes alongside much better through the loop than Mike Cantillon, but I think he'll have to give best in the end. And they go side by side through Aintree. A lot of trust there. The Ligier of Ferrer-Arza is up to 4th place, chasing Steve Hartley.
And Martin Stretton, knowing how important it is to get out of that spray, at the moment he's doing what he can to avoid being in it, but of course he can't yet find a way past Mike Cantillon, who's doing very, very nicely in the lead at the moment in the Williams. The Tyrrell in 2nd place, and there's another Williams out of the race. That's Christoph Danzenborg. Well, he's not completely out of the race. He's on the grass and getting back in the race now after a spin. Steve Hartley in the McLaren in 3rd place. Cars come through Woodcuts and head down past the pits, as they would have done when they were Grand Prix cars. That would have been the finishing straight, of course. Now they turn through Copse Corner, heading up towards Maggots and back into your sight, Alistair.
2 plumes of spray coming up through Maggots, and Mike Cantillon starting to pull away a little now from Martin Stretton in 2nd place. Steve Hartley still being closely followed by Ferrer-Arza in the Ligier. Then next up, it's the dark green Tyrrell of Jamie Constable with Michael Lyons right behind him.
And Matteo Ferrer-Arza closing up a little in the Ligier on the Steve Hartley McLaren, but as the 2 leaders get onto the hangar straight, as Alistair suggested, the leader, Mike Cantillon, begin to ease away from Martin Stretton in 2nd place, and a dive down the inside by Matteo Ferrer-Arza takes him into 3rd place as the cars go into Stoke Corner. The Ligier takes 3rd place away from the McLaren. Good move that by Matteo Ferrer-Arza, and now it's the turn of Martin Stretton to get on the inside line going into Club. He just gets through on the inside of Mike Cantillon, who left in the room. No pushing and shoving as you might get from some modern drivers, and as they come out of the last corner of the 1st lap, it's Martin Stretton in the Tyrrell. He's got the lead at the last corner of the previous lap. He's now on his way, is he? Martin Stretton out front in the Tyrrell. Can't afford to make a mistake though. Mike Cantillon in the end had to yield at the last corner of that lap. In third place we have Matteo Ferrer-Arza, then a beautiful move he had pulled off to get into 3rd. 4th is Steve Hartley, 5th is Jamie Constable, 6th is Michael Lyons, 7th is Katsuki Kubota in the Lotus, Mark Hazel is 8th, 9th is Antoine Danzenborg, and in 10th place is Henry Fletcher's Mark.
and it's Matteo Ferrer-Arza who's on the move now. He's pulled away from Steve Hartley very quickly, and he's already almost on the tail of Mike Cantillon as they go down towards Brooklands.
Indeed he is. Now he's doing what Martin Stretton was doing on the previous lap, looking to take the inside line into Brooklands, but he wasn't quite close enough, so he tucks in behind the Williams for the moment. So the Ligier closing up on the Williams now in second place. Andrew?
Yeah, I just heard that the Ferrer-Arza car, the Ligier, yesterday did have quite a major technical problem, which they've corrected. So I think that's one of the reasons why he was further down the grid than we expected. But he's really on it now, isn't he?
Yes, he started from the third row, but he's now in third place now, and is really putting the pressure on Mike Cantillon, who's going very well though. Mike Cantillon there in second place in the Williams. The car's coming past you, Alistair.
Up into Beckett's they come, and leading of course is Martin Stretton, but this battle for second place goes through the left-handed element of Beckett's. Ferrer-Arza right up behind the wonderful Williams of Mike Cantillon, the classic livery.
A 20-minute race this is, and because the second of the green flag laps is the clock was started as they went on to the second green flag lap, we are now already halfway through this race, which is a shame. And now down on the inside he goes into Stoke Corner. Matteo Ferrer-Arza takes second place. The Ligier is through to second, is off in pursuit now of the race leader, Martin Stretton in the Tyrrell. So it's Tyrrell from Ligier from Williams as they turn through Club Corner. Bit of opposite lock there by Matteo as he accelerates out of Club onto the international pit straight, and he'll be finding himself in the spray thrown up by the leader's car any moment now, because he really is reeling in Martin Stretton in the leading Tyrrell.
Up to Village they come. Martin Stretton from Matteo Ferrer-Arza, from Mike Cantillon, turn through Village, not too far behind Steve Hartley in the first of the two McLarens as they turn through the loop now, and Martin Stretton really sliding the back out on the curbing, as does Matteo Ferrer-Arza, both trying extremely hard to keep the power under control.
Yeah, what's going to be really, really fascinating is, assuming that Matteo Ferrer-Arza can catch Martin, how will he find a way past? Martin's a very fair driver, but a very hard driver. He's not going to make life easy. Comes into Luffield then, leading the way. On lap 5 we are now. Matteo Ferrer-Arza on the previous lap did a new fastest lap, 2 minutes 10.911. Out of Luffield through Woodcote. The big wheels, big tyres beginning to squeegee a less wet line through some of the corners now. Michael Lyons incidentally in 6th place, still in number 24 McLaren, just behind Jamie Constable, who's behind Steve Hartley in 4th place. Steve Hartley. Caught out by the curbing there, Matteo Ferrer-Arza, as the car drifted a bit too wide, coming through Copse Corner. He tipped the curb, the car got slightly out of shape. He brought it back under control, but I think he may have dropped back a little bit.
Yes, he's about halfway between Stretton and Cantillon now, so lost probably about 6 car lengths with that moment.
On to Hanger Straight they come then, the green Benetton liveried Tyrrell in the lead, the Gitane Ligier in 2nd place, and the Williams in 3rd place. Then in the distance, Steve Hartley comes on to Hanger Straight out of Chapel Curve, and behind him is Jamie Constable in the number 99 Tyrrell 011. And there is Michael Lyons in the M26 McLaren, who leads his class, the Fittipaldi class, for the older cars. But can he get much further up the order than where he is? Michael Lyons goes in 6th place. Martin Stretton finishes his 5th lap, and we have 7¼ minutes remaining. The gap first to second, 1.8, it is coming down. 1.8 seconds it is now between Martin Stretton and Matteo Ferrer-Arza. Mike Cantillon a strong 3rd. Maybe as the track gets a little bit less wet, Steve Hartley in the McLaren is going to be able to close up a little in the first ever carbon fibre type of car, the McLaren that Steve Hartley is driving, as was here in the hands of John Watson in 1981 in the British Grand Prix. Leaders are past you, Alistair, I think.
Down towards Brooklands, yes, and Ferrer-Arza is closing up again on Stretton, as you say.
Yes, as they come into Brooklands, the Tyrrell still leads by quite a few lengths, but those lengths are reducing in number into Luffield. And the camera giving the impression, to some extent, that the leader has almost been caught, but not quite. Martin Stretton still leads, but Matteo Ferrer-Arza is getting ever closer as they come on to the national pit straight. There it's still the Tyrrell in front. but Matteo Ferrer-Arza almost now ready to make a move to get ahead of the leader if he can, to get ahead of the Tyrrell. Martin Stretton up towards Maggots.
And they come up towards Beckett's through the fast left-hander at Maggots into Beckett's now, quickly on the brakes and then back on the power again. Matteo Ferrer-Arza staying right with Martin Stretton through the left-handed element now, and then the right, and then towards Chapel for the hanger straight once again. And this time it's about 3 car lengths between the Ligier and Stretton's Tyrrell.
I think he's going to be close enough to make a move into Stowe this time, and Martin's well aware of that. He's sticking to the right-hand side of the road as they come down towards Stowe corner. The Tyrrell's going to go right round, the Ligier's going to right round the outside of the Tyrrell. They're wheel to wheel as they turn into the corner. They almost touch, but then taking the cut back on the inside, coming out of the corner. Good move that by Matteo Ferrer-Arza. It hasn't quite worked for him though, so he's still in second place, but only just for Martin Stretton, who's been very good at putting his car in exactly the right place into the corners, using all his experience over the years. So it's still the Tyrrell just in front, but for how much longer? The Ligier is there with him as they go over the line then. It is, I suppose, you could say Michele Alboreto against Jacques Lafitte here, coming into Abbey to start their 7th lap. Time to go is just under 5 minutes. Can Martin Stretton hang on that long? Not sure that he can.
And he's taken a tight line into Village, which puts him at a slight disadvantage going up towards the loop, but there's not a lot of room there. So Matteo Ferrer-Arza opts for the tight line through the loop, but again, no room to get through, so they come out through Aintree, nose to tail onto the Wellington Straight once again, the second fastest part of the circuit after the hanger straight.
Here they come then down the straight. The Tyrrell stays ahead of the Ligier. The Ligier moves to the inside, looks at it, decides against it, so it's still the Tyrrell in front of the Ligier. Through Brooklands, up to Luffield, still Martin Stretton ahead of Matteo Ferrer-Arza. I think it's worked out where he can think about making a move that works, but he's not making it yet, even though he may have in his mind thoughts about what to do. So Martin Stretton leads through Woodcote Corner onto the National Pit Straight. Don't know the Ligier is going to be able to get into... Yes, it can. It gets through on the inside, and Matteo Ferrer-Arza takes the lead on the inside, going into Copse Corner, which in the dry is flat out in these cars nearly. They come into your side with the Ligier now in front of the Tyrrell.
First time, yes, the Ligier ahead into Beckett's. So Matteo Ferrer-Arza takes the lead. Martin Stretton holds on to second place, and not far behind is Mike Cantillon. As you say, he's stuck with them, and as the track perhaps dries, he might be able to close up.
Come back into contention maybe, but I don't think he'll dry enough in the remaining, 3.5 minutes that we have of the race. Down, hanger straight, now in the lead, Matteo Ferrer-Arza. Last time around, he set the new fastest lap of the race, 2 minutes 10.672. There's Mike Cantillon in 3rd place. There is some racing going on behind. Jack Constable's come up, as has Michael Lyons, ahead of Steve Hartley. Steve Hartley's actually dropped down in the McLaren, down to 6th place, number 77. Katsu Kubota in 7th place, not showing the pace that he showed in the dry yesterday. Leaders come through, and we've got time for 2 more laps. Yes, in these conditions, of course, lap time's much slower, longer than they would be in the dry, but over 2 minutes. But we've got well over 2 minutes as they went over the line. So this lap plus 1 more after it. Matteo Ferrer-Arza leads the championship, the FIA Masters Historic Championship, having had a very good run of success in the season so far. Paul Ricard in France, Brands Hatch and Magny-Cours, and this will consolidate his lead in the championship. Only really came into historic Formula 1 racing last year for the first time. There's Henry Fletcher, who leads the other class in the championship. For the other classes, for the Fittipaldi and Stewart classes, Henry Fletcher with his orange march. Number 34 running in 9th place, but only 3rd in the Fittipaldi class behind Michael Lyons and Kyle Tilley in the Ensign MN177, the Jägermeister livery on the number 34 Henry Fletcher march. Well, back with the leader and pulling away now, going into Copse Corner. There's Martin Stretton in 2nd place, and the gap second to 3rd actually looks about the same as it is 1st to 2nd as they come back up towards you in a moment, Alistair.
Yes, in fact, Stretton is being caught by Mike Cantillon quite quickly, because I noticed at the loop he was much closer, and he's closer still as they go through Beckett's. So I think Martin Stretton has a job on his hands to hold on to that 2nd place.
Yeah, now whether it's the way the car's set up, the way the tyres are wearing, but you're absolutely right about the way that gap has come down. It was equidistant first to second and second to third at the start of the lap. It's nothing like that now. There's a much longer gap first to second than it is second to third. But it is Martin Stretton still with the Tyrrell in second place. Mike Cantelan closing up in third place. How are the Martin's sector times looking like? 40.5. Yes, it's because he's going slower, not just because Mike Cantelan is going quicker. Fastest car in a straight line now down the Wellington Straight. It's Katsu Kubota in the Lotus at 150.1 miles an hour. So he is now going quicker in the Lotus, but it's going to be a little too late. He may gain another place, but Katsu Kubota up into sixth place ahead of Henry Fletcher. Sorry, ahead of Steve Hartley. He's fading rather, Steve Hartley. So this is the last lap of today's race. They are going to be all at it again tomorrow in hopefully dry conditions. Martin Stretton in second place. Started the lap nearly 4 seconds adrift of Matteo Ferrer-Arza, who has not only fought his way through to the lead, but he's now pulling well away. There's the class leading car, the M26 McLaren of Michael Lyons. Wasn't quite wet enough for Michael to be capable of the heroics. We could have seen him in one of the first 3 places overall. And there's Katsu Kubota in the Lotus 91. Here it is, the second place contest. Going through Luffield. And I think the gap has kind of stabilised. Martin Stretton not being caught as much as he was a lap ago at this point. Into Copse Corner for the final time goes the Gitane Ligier. Up the brow, back into your sights, Alistair.
And yes, very much on his own now, comes over the rise and into Beckett's, but this second place battle still joined, and I would hazard that on the podium Martin Stretton might say his tyres were going off, because he's really struggling to keep the car in a straight line on power coming out of the loop. So that may be the answer, but it looks like he's done enough, doesn't it, for second place?
Well, yes, he's still got a couple of corners to negotiate. He's on the hanger straight now. The Williams Mike Cantelan isn't that far behind him. As they come into Stowe Corner, Mike Cantelan not close enough there to make a move to pass. So Matteo Ferrer-Arza comes into Club Corner in the Ligier. Another win for the young Italian driver. Comes out of Club Corner and accelerates across the line, takes the checker flag. It's been a very impressive performance after, as Andrew alluded to, the problems that he had in qualifying yesterday. And second place, Martin Stretton hangs on for second place in the Tyrrell. The gap at the flag just 0.6 of a second between the Tyrrell and the third placed Williams of Mike Cantelan, which in fact started the race from pole position. Fourth place goes after a good drive to Jamie Constable, number 99, in the Tyrrell 011. And fifth place is going to go to Michael Lyons, who stays ahead of the closing Katsu Kubota to the flag. So Michael Lyons, who wins the Fittipaldi class in the McLaren M26. Well, in fact, it's the M23 that Emerson won his second World Championship with, not the M26, which came later, and was the sort of car that James Hunt drove the year after he won the World Championship, because he also won the World Championship in the M23 McLaren. So Michael Lyons fifth, sixth is Katsu Kubota, seventh is Steve Hartley, in eighth place, number 12 after an impressive drive, Kyle Tilley with the Ensign MN 177. In ninth place, Henry Fletcher in the number 34 March 761, and 10th place goes to number 32 Philip Hall with the Theodore TR1, which once upon a time won here in the hands of Keke Rosberg in wet conditions, even much worse than we have in front of us now. So it's a shame these races only last 20 minutes, but their spectacular events, and Matteo Ferrer-Arza absolutely delighted with that result on his lap of honour. It was an almost perfect race, I think you could say, for him, because he didn't start on the front row, started on row 3, but worked his way through very neatly and tidily, didn't take any unnecessary risks, bided his time and picked them off one by one. And here he is. And we'll be shortly having a podium. There's confirmation of the result then. First, Matteo Ferrer-Arza in the Ligier number 26, JS11/15. Martin Stretton in the Tyrrell 012 second. Third, Mike Cantelan in the Williams FW07C. Fourth, Jamie Constable's Tyrrell 011. Fifth, Michael Lyons in the McLaren M26, winning the Fittipaldi class. Sixth, Katsu Kubota in the Lotus 91. In seventh place, Steve Hartley in the McLaren MP41. Eighth, Kyle Tilley in the Ensign MN177. Ninth, Henry Fletcher in the March 761. And 10th, Philip Hall in the Theodore TR1. Which, if you think it looks rather like the Formula 2 Rult, we'll just go with the results. So we're going to go that far. Gregor Fiskin then in the 11th place in the Shadow DN5. 12th, Mark Hazel with the Williams FW 08C. 13th, Christoph Danzenborg in the Williams FW 07C. 14th, Jason Wright in the Shadow DN8. 15th, Antoine Danzenborg's Brabham BT49. 16th, Mark Martin in the Heska 308C. 17th, Gail Hallow with the Theodore N183. 18th, James Hagan's Heska 308. 19th, Sid Hoole with the Ensign N173. And 20th, despite the black flag, Judy Lyons getting to the flag many laps behind in the Surtees TS9.
And so our first podium of the afternoon, everybody. Race 6 of the Silverstone Classic for 2019. The Sir Jackie Stewart Trophy for the FIA Masters Historic Formula 1 cars. And of course, I'm absolutely delighted to say that to present the trophies to the top 3 drivers, we have Sir Jackie Stewart with us. Thank you very much indeed, Sir Jackie. If you'd like to take to the podium, he's been busy signing autographs and doing photographs. Trophy presentation taking place in a couple of moments with Sir Jackie after we get the top 3 drivers onto the podium in reverse order. In third place, number 7, Mike Cantonon. And Mike, congratulations. Over to the far end goes Mike. In second place, number 44, Martin Stretton. Well done, Martin. Congratulations. And to our winner, number 26, Matteo Ferrer-Arza. Congratulations, Matteo. Onto the top step of the podium after a handshake with Sir Jackie, with Martin, and with Mike as well. Matteo takes the top step of the podium, and now the national anthem for the winning driver. The Italian national anthem for Matteo Ferrer-Arza on the top step of the podium. And now, Sir Jackie, to the far end of the podium, if you please, to first of all award the trophy to third place Mike Cantonon on the far end. He gets a handshake and a few words from Sir Jackie. Then to this end of the podium, to second place to Martin Stretton, and gets a handshake and a second place trophy and a few words as well. And then to our winner on the top step of the podium, a garland of victory around the neck of Matteo Ferrer-Arza and a huge trophy, the Sir Jackie Stewart Trophy for the FIA Masters Historic Formula 1. Let's get Sir Jackie up onto the podium, and a lovely podium shot of our top 3 drivers. Also, the top 3 drivers in the post-78 categories of Lauda and Head, and all of them posing together. What a lovely podium shot that is, everybody. A round of applause, please, for your podium. And a huge thank you to Sir Jackie Stewart for making the presentation, and a final round of applause for the drivers. And now, maybe we'll get a word with Matteo. Jump down and have a chat to me, if you would, please. Matteo, the camera's over there, so let's say hello to the whole of Silverstone and talk about what the conditions were like at the start of this afternoon. Very different to yesterday.
Yes, well, first of all, thanks for everybody coming out, because I know the weather's not what it was a few days ago, but it's a refreshing change. Yeah, it was very different from yesterday and Thursday. And my first wet race in historic Formula 1, so couldn't have gone better, really. Just felt at home with the car, and when you're happy with the balance, it just gives you the confidence to to go out and send it.
And you needed the confidence to go out and send it, didn't you, when Martin was there?
Yes, well, yesterday's qualifying was a bit of a downer, so we were scratching our heads a bit, and it was a bit of a mixed blessing with the rain because we didn't know what would be with the car, and it turned out it was good, so even excellent. So yeah, with Stretton, I haven't really had a dice with him in a while, so it was nice to have it out in the rain and finally see who's the bigger man.
Yeah, well, Martin, come down. You have a right to reply.
Well, no. I've had a couple of very good races with Matteo, and this one was his. I was really trying very hard, and it was great fun, but I couldn't live with him. He drove very, very well.
It really did. What was your car like at the end of the race?
Just the slideys at the beginning. Yeah. It just was. We lacked grip, but we had lots of fun, and thanks to the team and everything, they gave me a great car.
Okay, Martin, thank you very much indeed. Quick word with Mike. Good to be on the podium.
Yeah, thank you. When I saw the rain come down this morning, I knew I had a job in my hands. I knew Martin would be all over me, but I didn't think Mateus was going to be so fast coming through. But what a great race for everyone. Hope everyone had a great day.
And we have one more podium, which is for the pre-78 non-ground effect cars. Onto the second step of the podium, and then onto the top step, number 24, Michael Lyons. Where's Michael? Making his way through the crowd onto the top step of the podium. And Sir Jackie will make the presentation in a couple of moments after we have the national anthem for the winning driver. Michael Lyons on the top step of the podium for our second podium for the Sir Jackie Stewart Trophy for FIA Masters Historic Formula One cars. This the pre-1978 category, and third place Henry Fletcher gets his award from Sir Jackie, and then to Kyle Tilley on the second step of the podium. He gets his Masters cap and also his second place silver trophy, and then to, in the middle, Michael Lyons about to receive a winner's garland around his neck, a Masters cap as well, and then the Sir Jackie Stewart Trophy for the pre-78 cars in the hands of Michael Lyons, everybody. Lovely photograph with Sir Jackie. Sir Jackie, you're going to pose with the drivers as well on the podium. Be lovely if you could. There we go. And we'll just have the photographs of all three drivers bunched up together with Sir Jackie Stewart, and then a chance to get maybe a quick word from our winner, from Michael Lyons. Thank you, gentlemen. Congratulations, and a very quick word with Michael Lyons. Hop down if you would. We haven't got long, but many congratulations. You've got a big, broad smile on your face.
Yeah, it's always fun in the F1s around here in the wet. The first couple of laps, I couldn't see a thing. I had a good battle with Katsu towards the end. I could see him closing in on me, but we're able to keep wheels down, keep it in a straight line, have a few slides out there. So yeah, mega fun. Always love driving the F1s around here.
Fantastic to watch. Michael Lyons, everybody, thank you very much indeed. And that concludes our podium presentation for race 6 of the weekend, the Sir Jackie Stewart Trophy for the FIA Masters Historic Formula One cars.